Thank you for auditing the always positive new music review show hosted by a French professor who's recording this video before leaving on a Friday. I'm this dedicated. I don't know when I'm going to release it, but I'm excited to talk about the new Chemical Brothers album, For That Beautiful Feeling. Now, I had a poll up on my community page where I said, do you want me to review James Blake or Chemical Brothers? And I gotta say, James Blake won by 80%, but I had a bunch of people who said, you really have to review the Chemical Brothers album, and I agree. And the thing is you know, I talk about generations and everything quite a bit on this channel, about age, because, you know, I'm a middle-aged guy with mostly young adult viewers, and the existence and the persistence of the Chemical Brothers is just something to be cherished, because they provided, along with a couple other acts, such an important moment with the sort of big beat, techno, EDM, whatever you want to call it, however you want to classify their music, which was just the kind of music that you would listen to and you would get psyched up and you'd have all that energy, and it was so rhythmic and so interesting and funny and funky and mixing to other things. The fact that that existed was so great. And then the fact that the greats of that era are still making great music. I stopped paying attention to the Prodigy. I stopped paying attention to Chemical Brothers. They just went on making great music. And now I'm reviewing for the second time a Chemical Brothers album since I did this channel. Now, the last one that I reviewed, I got 150 views on it. I don't remember it that well. It was probably a fine review. 2019, I was still a sweaty record review, so it was back in the old days. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the same title. I called that title Big Beat Bliss. Okay? That's B-E-A-T, not B-I-T-E, for all of you French perverts. So Big Beat Bliss. Ask a French person if you don't get that joke. The bliss of a great big beat is just that experience that you have of listening to it. It's not just that it has that emotion that comes with that sort of energy and drive. It's also the way that when it's done well, it's using so many dynamics and so many interlocking parts, and there's such like a beautiful complexity. And it's one of those things where I get that it's not, you know, super high in the zeitgeist, you know? But like, why is it gone? I mean, I know it's still around, but there should be more of it. It's kind of like crunk, you know? Crunk music, there's a couple people still making crunk, but it largely disappeared. Why? Isn't there enough spectrum? Anyways, tell me in the comments what crunk and big beat artists I'm missing out on. For me, though, this entire album, it all leads to and from the track No Reason, which is my stamp. You can click above, right next to a bust of Toussaint, to hear this song. This is everything that I love about Chemical Brothers. This is as good as anything they ever did in the 90s. Turns out they're English. I always thought they were like from Detroit or something. No, they're from Manchester. So there you go. So much to answer for. But this just has everything. Has multiple parts, has tons of build-ups, kind of drops, and just so much excitement. So, you know, starts off with these like kind of imperial synthesizer stabs, like bang, 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 little flange snare sounds, and everything builds up. The thing is, everything is building up. Sorry, I have to take my keys out of my pocket. Everything leads up to this point where you're going, woo, right? It's all about the woo part, but they make you wait. They make you wait 4 bars before the woo part with a full-on, basically, Digital Love by Daft Punk, my favorite, you know, pre-Random Access Memories Daft Punk song, with that break, that kind of boom, 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 that kind of break. And then it leads into the woo. If you've never heard the song, I'll just tell you, it's the kind of song where every couple bars has a sample of Janet Jackson saying, woo! And it gives me the same feeling that I get listening to King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. We're human beings, are we not? Are you a human being? Are you watching this? Toby, are you watching my videos? You're a human being. How do you not react to badass, hard, you know, music with just heavy thumps and awesome synthesizers and layers, and someone just saying, woo! And then it leads into this great other part with this weird dark singing. Oh, we have no reason to live. No reason at all. When will they kill us all? This is apparently some kind of sample from Second Layer, Courts of Wars. I don't know. I don't care. All I know is that it's the kind of thing the Chemical Brothers, that all those great big beat techno artists were able to do. was find these sound samples, these singing samples from just all over the place and put it together. And listen, I just reviewed the James Blake album. It's not that different, you know? A lot of the techniques are not that different. They're done to a different effect, you know? But the actual effect, the actual techniques of taking these voices, melding them together, having a lot of different modular sections, playing around with dynamics, it's all pretty similar. And just constantly back and forth with this breakdown and this wait, where he just makes you wait. They just make you wait for the woo. Then there's like a middle bit, like a full church organ, just kind of gothness. And then all of a sudden, the synthesizers are replacing the bass in the woo part. It's awesome. And then the very end of it, just when you think Chemical Brothers could not have done more, there's like a percussion ending. Where it's like, do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. I don't edit these videos, right? So I have to keep all these songs in my head while I'm talking. It's not easy. Usually when I have to talk about how a song goes, I have to play it right beforehand. I haven't heard the song in like 2 days. It's taking more while to get to this album, but I can do, 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 and then do, do. There's wood block and cowbell. And it's just so much fun making all these different sounds, playing around, having all these super awesome sounds. And now I have to admit to you, why do I love this song so much? I love it because I love it. Also, I have a 1-year-old baby, and she loves the song. We danced to this song together. If you ever meet me in person, I can show you the video. I made a video of us dancing, and it's beautiful. And it's just me dancing and doing the woo. And it's my little baby, as close as a 1-year-old baby can be to having a sort of rave. We had a baby rave. I'm going to go through the rest of the album a little bit quicker here. I need to get home to that baby. I need to get home to that baby. Starts off with the intro, great female voice. It's going to close the album and open up the album for that beautiful feeling. I don't really know what the title's about, except it's sort of expressing this is going to be sort of an aesthetic album. It's going to be about feelings and beauty, but it's not necessarily going to be about like ideas. You know, it's not like Eve of Destruction of their last album. Basically a full Boots and Cats beat here, some of their great distortion work. At times it sort of reminds me of Giorgio Moroder, but the whole first 4 tracks of this album are just perfect because they lead right into the song Live Again. Warbled simple chords, these chopped up songs, Yeah, We'll Live Again, this beautiful, like almost Debbie Harry like that leads perfectly into No Reason, which I just discussed, then leads perfectly into Goodbye, a song which is basically just as good as No Reason. I mean, it's unbelievable with this crazy, awesome, super hard drum beat. And there's even this little like, and I realized it reminds me a lot of the song Take California by Propellerheads, a very underrated electronic group from the late 90s, early 2000s. Their song Take California was actually the commercial for the first iPod. I know because I bought a Generation 1 iPod, $500 for 5 megs, not a lot. 5 songs. But anyways, and it was partly because the commercial was so good. There's this beautiful female voice. And this is almost kind of like the house style voice. Until we meet again, oh my love. It's just so beautiful. And then it does this crazy cutout. And then we get to this like, these beeping sounds. It reminds me a lot of that James Blake song I just reviewed that I like so much, the Tell Me song. Like the like it should be aggravating. It should make you angry. It should make you mad, but instead it just makes you so excited. And it's like this spiritual song. And they just keep coming back. It reminds me very strongly and very positively of the Dig Your Own Hole era of Chemical Brothers. And really, let's be honest, Chemical Brothers fans, is this demonstrably worse than anything they were doing 30 years ago, 25 years ago? Not really. That's impressive. And then like some real done, that's the beat that's going on here. A real drum beat. I think in the beginning it was a loop, but then here they have a real drum beat coming in here, and just along with this, all this layering, basically polyrhythm, all coming back together. It's great. It's awesome. It's good. You see, that's why I am your favorite music critic. Even though I'm not a professional, this is a hobby I picked up in the lobby, I'm able to tell you such interesting improvised concepts like it's good. If you like that, I will leave you a heart if you say AVAA on this video in the comments. Awesome videos always. Tell me your favorite big beat techno song if you like. Smash the like bucket. Next track is Fountains. It's a little bit of a drop off here on the album, if I'm going to be honest, which of course I am, because I'm always honest. This is basically a deconstructed Neptune's beat. Like the synthesizer sound sounds like a Pharrell synthesizer sound. The stilted rhythm sounds like a Neptune sound. It seems like they're messing around with this kind of a simplistic 80s beat eventually. It gets super weird halfway through. And the thing is, if you sound kind of 80s and you start something off with the words "I was dreaming," there's autofill. Okay, you know autofill on a computer where you type something into a computer and it finishes the sentence for you or the word. If something sounds even vaguely 1980s, screw it. If it's music and the line is "I was dreaming," every single human being who hears it completes it with "When I wrote this, forgive me if it goes astray." Okay? We finish with 1999. Like we auto-complete. So don't do that. Okay? Just don't ever sing "I was dreaming." That's just my word out there. Next track is Magic Wand, full on big bleat. Big bleat. That when sheep make techno, it's called big bleat. It's too late. You can't take away the thumbs up. You can't give me a thumbs down now for that joke. A big beat, block-busting beat, rumbling bass. The drums are perfectly synced. It reminds me exactly of the 90s. All that, a great weird female singer, which makes it a little bit non-90s. Kind of like the bits without the singer, sort of futuristic and weird, but then the singer is just totally unexpected, which is quite nice. Leads into the weight, basically just two notes on a bass, these cool rising, cool sounds, and then like super old school rap. Who's gonna take the weight? Who's going to take the blame? According to Who Sampled, this is South Bronx, The Big Throwdown, which, if you listen to the original song, also includes, hey, Chemical Brothers, I know you heard this song. How did you not sample the part from this song where he says, "Chicka boom, chicka bang, chicka wow wow y'all"? Have a listen to the original song. Tell me I'm wrong. Then it just breaks in this killer bass line, these super funky drums. This is exactly what I want. A little tiny semi-reggae breakdown, just some bass lines and guitars and block rocking beats. It even reminds me positively of some of the instrumental work of the Beastie Boys. I don't talk about them very much on this channel, but they were very important to me growing up. Are you shocked? You shocked a 45-year-old white guy is a big fan of the Beastie Boys? A cool kind of bass solo outro, and then we get to Skipping Like a Stone with Beck, who, hey, I'm not a big Beck fan. I'm an ambiguous Beck fan. I like some things Beck did, Midnight Vultures. Other stuff I don't like so much. Sea Changes. But it's okay. In general, I'm positive on Beck, but I'm not a super fan, but he's great here. This seems like it's trying to sound like I Want My MTV, the Dire Straits, Money for Nothing sound, has that kind of 80s sound, kind of a rising Formula One engine keyboards. But then you realize, oh no, these guys, they're all getting together and they just want to make an 80s Bowie song. That's what they want. My prediction, if we went in, we would have Beck and we'd have the Chemical Brothers and they'd be sitting around and they'd be saying, hey, let's make an 80s Bowie song. Not like a Nile Rodgers Bowie song, but like, a different 80s Bowie song. And maybe even off a Never Let Me Down kind of style. Beck sings like Bowie. The orchestra hits sound a little bit dated and 80s-like. And then the lyrics actually remind me a lot of Never Let Me Down. The lyrics off that album are often very positive, inspirational. When you feel like nothing matters, when you feel alone, I'll come skipping like a stone. Thank you, Beck. Thank you for being there for me. I like Beck as a person. I just don't like a lot of his, I don't like his music when he's moaning, when he's whinging, but that's okay. Cool post-chorus with these like drum layers and falsetto. The drums get more and more interesting as they go. And then, as often happens, they just get loud and noisy, like this low rumbling bass, this synthesizer on the back half of the song. I don't know what it means to be dancing in the shadows of love, but that's what he's doing. It's Bowie again, isn't it? Dancing in the shadows of love. That's a fake Bowie lyric. That's AI Bowie lyrics. And we'll be dancing in the shadows of love. Yeah, that's what this is. It's an AI Bowie song. Darkness That You Fear, Harvest Mix, more of a slow burner. The back half of the album, as often happens with great techno albums, you sort of have a rise and a fall. This has some great vocal samples. This reminds me a little bit of the Avalanche's album from a couple years ago. Full disco-style bridge. Sometimes there's like Beach Boy-style bells being played and then a cool kind of shuffle rhythm that leads into the penultimate track, Feels Like I'm Dreaming. Like these two voices at war where there's like this yell sound and I feel like I'm dreaming. There's a thing with big beat samples and vocal samples where often the samples they use sound, and this is the term I'm going to use, druggy and desperate. So it sounds like somebody who is either having too intense of some kind of trip, some kind of hallucination or some kind of high, and like there's like a kind of energy. Do you get what I mean about that? So this whole hook, I feel like I'm dreaming, feels like that. This whole thing's about dreaming. It's all about dancing and dreaming and that kind of feeling. Great little keyboard hooks all the way through, kind of droning, angry sounds. I love the Chemical Brothers. They're never afraid to just say, what if we put some angry keyboards here? That's not a very good Manchester accent. I apologize to all people in Manchester. I've been to your beautiful city. I went to Morrissey's house. I went to the cemetery gates, where Morrissey wrote about. I went to the fountain in downtown Manchester, and I reeled around it. True story. At that point, it was 2002, and I thought, I should like the crappy team from Manchester. I should like Manchester City because they're just like the crappy team that no one cares about. And like being a Red Sox fan, like I don't want to support United because they're like the Yankees. So, anyways. I supported the underdogs, Manchester City. I haven't paid any attention to soccer over the last 10 years. How's that working out for me? Anyways, great big bounce sound underneath. And then that beautiful, the big beautiful feeling is the necessary come down, the necessary end song. Repeating the beginning sentiment, the whole album, a nice vocoder sound, plunking keyboards, this loud lead guitars playing these simplistic notes and a nice catchy melody. Whole thing is great. I'm super happy it exists. I'm just so happy that they're still making music and that they're so good. All right. Till next time, for Jack Grealish, there's the camera.